Part 0D, a very important PSA. Something needs to be remembered. Being incorrect about something is not a moral failure. If you genuinely don't know something and spread the wrong piece of information, that is not a moral failure. Refusing to accept new information, refusing to try correcting misinformation you spread, refusing to get all the facts, refusing to just admit you were wrong, refusing to try correcting the damage you had done, those are actual moral failings. I do not fault anyone for believing incorrect information on the surface. Not Rabbit, not several people mentioned in Part 3E, not Thomas's victims, not even a complete scumbag imbecile like Kumo. I do fault people, however, who actually did know me personally, only to end up deciding to abandon me or otherwise stick to the side of those bastards spreading absolute lies about me. Or, any other pieces of misinformation and disinformation. Especially when my story has stayed, pretty consistent. I have put an effort to explain things in great detail so any of you can understand things better. Many of you have personally seen proof I'm better than what I've been accused of. And then despite all of that, you're siding with a predator like Lio? Or Ray Rance? Dear gods. You must be so stupid you need to think to breathe. Or, you're just an underhanded piece of shit. You are just genuinely that evil. Probably the second one, more than likely. But let me make it entirely clear for you and anyone else that may still be a little lost. I am directly calling out people's moral failings. If anything, I'm calling out does not sound like something you did, then it does not apply to you. This needs to be said for any fool still worthless enough to defend anyone I'm calling out here, particularly in Part 3. So that way your neurons will actually work instead of, you snort that fucking meth that you're basically ordered to take to keep your brains shut off. That was exaggeration to make a point for anyone who may be confused. I'm going into this project with 5 other major parts split into multiple videos, which are starting with how I view myself, which I will obviously articulate and provide reasoning for. I'll admit to my own fuck-ups as well. Actually bothering, to be honest, unlike some people, and explaining relevant defenses, explaining them but not excusing them. I'll address rumors aimed at myself and call out lies, then address similar matters such as hypocrisy. I'll actively call out the people most responsible for what was done to myself, primarily in 2021, but even beyond that, bringing up what my life position was like at the time that shit happened, and in the midst of that, bringing up why I have made accusations that I have made. I'll explain the often political propaganda tactics used on me. Yes, really. And then the actual mental health details to explain things to anyone misinformed or just plain clueless. And finally, I'll talk about what I want to do going forward for the sake of anyone who I share a mutual interest in contacting again. Or hell, even if it's one-sided on your end and I might give you a chance out of courtesy. I actually have a better sense of decency than I've been given credit for, and I'm nowhere near as vindictive as I've been framed. Those things are for certain. And as a note, I'll be putting brief moments of levity in here sometimes because of how heavy things can get. This is for the sake of my mental health and yours, so that you might not come out of this entirely depressed by how bad it was. And Part 0F. Why am I doing this? Because it's not about being hated. It's about the truth. There's a reason someone who has merely disliked me, like, say, Akumu, was never on any form of hit list, whether legal or otherwise, because he didn't make an effort to spread misinformation about me. I don't like him for his various viewpoints, one in particular being how he views trans people, last I heard. But at the same time, he actually has integrity. As far as I know, that actually deserves respect. I'm doing this for myself, by the way. That's the main reason. I'm doing this all because I deserve better than what I've gotten. And I deserve not to be lied about by a bunch of 4chan rejects that play up being Fox News wannabes. Especially ones that literally silence their opposition to lie nonstop to the point of doxing them. I have calls recorded. I have multiple people at least admitting shit. I have inferable context that several people who have made an effort to defame me are themselves likely predators. Two of them are Lyle Convoy and Kumo. But besides that point, there are other victims of this exact kind of bullshit, whether inside this community or not. And by speaking up against all of this, I might give someone else the courage to speak up just to get justice for themselves as as well. Like, two things can be true at once, and generally speaking, good people are never just one-note individuals. The idea of complex thoughts and feelings being rejected by these grape-flavored suckers is nothing short of primitive. And hopefully, by the end of this, even if you don't like me, you can understand what myself and others have gone through is and how it's nothing short of unacceptable. I mean, I'm not exactly Lily Orchard or Chris Chan for reference.